Close your eyes for 3 minutes and change the course of your destiny. That's all it takes. Not years of labor, not 10,000 cold calls, just 3 minutes of assuming the right state of consciousness. This is not fiction. This is not wishful thinking. This is the law, the eternal law by which all things are made. Let the world call it foolish. Let reason dismiss it. But the one who dares to believe, who dares to feel what is not yet visible, will see it unfold in ways no logic could predict. You are not here to beg reality for riches. You are here to create. And creation begins not in effort, but in imagination. Take 3 minutes tonight and imagine, not that you will be rich, but that you already are. That money flows to you in expected and unexpected ways. That you are living the life you once envied in silence. Imagine it as you would if it were the most natural thing in the world. Let the feeling of wealth saturate your senses. Walk in it, breathe it, own it. You are not asking for wealth, you are assuming it. You are not reaching for a possibility, you are selecting a reality. All things already exist. The version of you that is rich, free, powerful, it is already created. The law does not require time. It requires faith. Not in some outer power, but in your own wonderful human imagination. 3 minutes of this assumption, done with sincerity and repetition, will open doors the rational mind cannot even name. Your inner world, when impressed clearly and consistently, begins to mold the outer. The law of assumption is not a ritual. It is not a trick. It is a law, as certain as gravity, as exact as mathematics. Assume the state of wealth, and all things must conform to that state. What you are inwardly convinced of is what your life reveals. Do you believe yourself to be rich in the silence of your soul, or do you walk in the poverty of fear? It is not your bank account that makes you poor or rich. It is your concept of yourself. If you persist in assuming you are wealthy, even when evidence says otherwise, the evidence will have no choice but to rearrange itself. Say nothing to the world. Let it doubt. Let it watch. Let it scoff. But when you close your eyes and enter the silence, see yourself counting stacks of money. Feel the cool leather of the luxury car. Hear the ocean from the balcony of your dream home. And do not imagine as a distant fantasy. Imagine as a memory. Already lived, already yours. Do this for 3 minutes, not as a chore, but as your sacred moment with creation. Let it become your inner temple. And when doubt arises, return again to the end. Always to the end. The end is wealth. The end is freedom. The end is ownership, not desire. See the world from that place and do not let go. You are not manifesting money. You are embodying the man or woman who already possesses it. Your job is not to wonder how. Your job is to become. The rest will follow as surely as day follows night. That is the secret known to all who rise. They dare to feel something greater within them and live from that feeling, no matter how the world appears. Do not extend this process into hours. A few concentrated moments of true assumption are worth more than years of scattered wishing. Assume the feeling until it hardens into fact. Do not check the world to see if it is working. Look inward and assume again. The seed does not sprout the day it is planted, but if watered with faith, it must grow. Every night, before sleep, let your mind drift not into worry but into wealth. Let your senses be intoxicated by prosperity. Let your chest expand with the joy of freedom, and then fall asleep in that feeling. It is not the length of time that matters. It is the truth of the feeling. Just 3 minutes of being the person who already has it all. You are the operant power. The world does not create your state. You create the world from your state. If you persist in this vision, it will become flesh. It will become your waking reality, and the world will call it luck, chance, hard work, but you will know the truth. It began in the silence, in those 3 sacred minutes where you assumed the end and refused to wake up as anything less than the millionaire you were bold enough to become. Imagination is the only creative power in the universe. Nothing comes into being unless it is first imagined. All that exists was once a formless thought, shaped and nurtured in the unseen depths of consciousness. You may believe that effort, time, and material circumstances shape reality, but those are merely shadows, reflections of what already exists within. The origin of all form, all experience, all wealth and poverty, all joy and despair is imagination. When you look at your surroundings, you are not seeing the truth. You are seeing the outpictured form of past imaginings. Everything you now behold, everything you touch and name and claim as your experience was once imagined, perhaps consciously, perhaps unconsciously. But nothing appears without first being held as a mental image. The house you live in, the job you work, the money in your account, the people in your life, even your own body, all were shaped by the silent, consistent activity of imagination. If you would change your life, you must first change the image you hold of yourself. Imagination is not idle daydreaming. It is not the whimsy of children. It is the very essence of creation. What you imagine with feeling, with belief, with repetition, must take shape. The world cannot help but reflect the inner activity of man's imagination. When you understand this, you no longer beg for change. You assume the new image, and the world reshapes itself accordingly. If you imagine lack, you will encounter lack. If you imagine yourself struggling, no effort will save you from that struggle until the image is changed. You may work tirelessly, make plans, seek advice, and even taste success for a moment. But unless the inner image changes, the outer will return to match it. The cause is always within. Outer circumstances are the echo, not the origin. Imagination, when properly used, does not simply entertain possibilities. It selects and occupies realities. The imagination must be controlled, disciplined, and directed. It is not enough to hope or desire. You must learn to dwell in the assumption of your fulfilled desire as if it were already fact. That is the proper use of imagination. Not to wish, but to feel and see and live in the end, long before the evidence appears. You are not a passive observer in this universe. You are a creator, clothed in flesh. But your true self is not the name you wear, nor the body you inhabit. Your true power lies in your ability to imagine, to feel, and to persist in that inner state until it hardens into fact. You have imagined many things without knowing it. Now, imagine deliberately, consciously, joyfully. Take wealth as your example. Do not look at your current bank balance. That is merely an effect. Look instead into your inner world and ask, what image do I carry of myself regarding money? Do I see myself as poor, struggling, dependent, small? Or do I see myself as abundant, free, powerful, generous? That image, whatever it may be, is what imagination is projecting into your world. Change the image, and the world must follow. Imagination is spiritual sight. It sees beyond facts, beyond senses, beyond current conditions. It does not ask how. It does not reason. It simply chooses and dwells. And if you persist in the new image, the bridge of incidents will form. People will come into your life. Opportunities will rise. Old obstacles will dissolve and new paths will open. But it all begins not in the world, but in the secret place of imagination. There is no power outside of this. You may look to action, strategy, or luck, but these are effects. The cause is always imagination. You may say, but I am imagining wealth and nothing has happened. If nothing has changed, then examine your imagination honestly. Are you imagining with belief, or are you imagining while doubting? Do you feel the truth of your assumption, or do you merely speak words while feeling the opposite? Imagination without belief is ineffective. Imagination with conviction is unstoppable. Practice this tonight. Close your eyes and dwell in the scene of your fulfilled desire. See yourself living as the person you long to be. Touch the objects you would own. Walk the rooms of the home you would live in. Hear the compliments, the sounds, the conversations that would surround your new life. Let it be vivid, rich, alive, and do not treat it as fantasy. Feel it as memory. Make it as real as your waking day. The mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. Whatever you accept as true in imagination is impressed upon the subconscious mind, and the subconscious shapes your world. Repetition of the image with feeling is the secret. One moment of pure assumption is more powerful than 1,000 words. When you feel yourself to be wealthy and persist in that feeling, then all that wealth implies will be drawn to you without strain, without manipulation. The law is simple. Imagine, feel, and persist, and the world will echo back your vision. To assume the feeling of wealth before it is seen is to plant the seed of riches in the fertile ground of consciousness. The world you touch and name and claim as real is only the fruit. The root lies within, hidden from sight, and only those who understand this inner law come to master the outer conditions. It is not by waiting for proof that one becomes wealthy, but by assuming the state of already having. Feel it first, and then see it reflected in the mirror of life. This is the order of all creation. Inner reality first, outer confirmation second. You do not wait for money in the bank to feel secure. You feel secure and the money flows. You do not wait for business success to feel accomplished. You feel accomplished and success arrives. This reversal is the mystery that most never solve. They wait for the shadow to move, forgetting that the shadow moves only when the substance shifts. That substance is your inner assumption. The one who assumes is not hoping. He is not pretending. He is not lying to himself. He is selecting a state that already exists in the infinite. He is stepping into it with the authority of one who knows that consciousness is the only reality. And because he lives from that place consistently, not just for a moment, not just as an experiment, but with conviction, he will see the world reform itself around his new self-concept. You cannot see wealth until you feel it, because your outer senses are servants of the inner world. They follow your deepest convictions. You may walk through life poor in appearance, but if you walk rich in spirit, that inward state will change the world around you. Feelings create facts, and the feeling of wealth is not excitement or craving, it is calm possession. It is a knowing, a restfulness, a gentle but unshakable awareness that all is already yours. Test this with sincerity. Close your eyes and imagine that you have just received a large sum of money. Let it be done. Let it be yours. What would you feel? Not what would you think, but what sensation would move through your body, through your breath, through your posture. That is the key. Dwell in that state. Rest in it. Carry it with you like a fragrance. And though the world may show you no sign, keep feeling that inner possession. Do not look for evidence. The seed grows in silence. You are not deceiving yourself by feeling rich before the evidence. You are aligning yourself with the truth that all states are possible and all states are real. And what you choose to occupy will become your world. Just as the actor steps onto the stage and wears the emotion of the scene, so must you put on the garment of wealth and walk in it until it becomes your second skin. Many believe they must earn their wealth through sweat alone, but no amount of physical labor can compensate for a mind filled with lack. A rich man in thought will rise even in ruins, while a poor man in thought will lose even his winnings. The cause is not action. The cause is feeling. Let your feeling of wealth be greater than your need. Let it flood your senses until there is no room for want. That is how you create. When you assume the feeling of wealth, you are not just thinking differently, you are tuning into a frequency, and all things on that frequency are drawn to you. People, opportunities, inspiration, ideas, they come not because you chase them, but because you become magnetized by your inner state. Like attracts like. It has always been so, but you must persist in the assumption. You must live from the end, not merely visit it. Even if the bank account shows zeros, feel the fullness. Even if others call you foolish, walk in quiet certainty. The riches you seek are already prepared in the invisible, and they await only your alignment. This alignment is not a struggle, it is a surrender to the truth of who you already are in imagination. Every morning, arise with the sense of being rich. Let your first thoughts be ones of gratitude for wealth unseen but already yours. Every night, fall asleep in the feeling of completion as one who has more than enough. Speak less about your lack and more from your fullness. Do not wait for others to affirm it. Affirm it in your inner conversations. Make wealth your dwelling place, and the world will follow. To assume the feeling is to claim the promise, and the one who claims it without wavering will, in due season, reap the visible harvest of the invisible seed. That is the law. That is the creative process, and that is how all things are made manifest in the world of form. A short and consistent visualization, repeated with sincerity and feeling, impresses the subconscious more deeply than hours of unfocused thought. The mind does not respond to how long you imagine, but to how clearly, how vividly, and how confidently you do it. A single scene, properly imagined, can alter the course of your life. It does not require grand rituals or complex scripts. Just a moment of inner conviction, repeated until it feels natural. This is the secret of transformation, for all things arise from the subconscious, and the subconscious is shaped by the images impressed upon it. The subconscious mind accepts what it is given without question. It does not argue, it does not analyze, it simply takes what is deeply felt and makes it so in the outer world. If the image you impress is one of limitation, then limitation is what it must express. If the image is one of abundance, then abundance is what must come. There is no discrimination, only acceptance. Therefore, your task is to impress it deliberately with the vision you choose, not with the fears you tolerate. Many imagine that change must come through action, through effort, through time. But action is the echo of thought, not the cause. First, you must change the image within. That is the true work. And you do not need to labor in that inner world for hours. A moment of true feeling, repeated daily, will do far more than countless hours of forced repetition without belief. Visualization must be alive. It must be felt. It must become more real to you than the facts of the senses. Then it is planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious, and nothing can prevent its growth. You may think, can 3 minutes a day truly change my life? And the answer is yes, if those 3 minutes are spent fully immersed in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you close your eyes and see yourself already in possession of the thing you desire, and if you feel it as though it were happening now, not someday, but now, then you have sown the seed. That seed, if not uprooted by doubt, must grow. It may not happen in the way you expect, but it will happen, because that is the law. Let your visualization be short, but let it be concentrated. Do not scatter your attention. Choose one scene, one simple moment that implies your desire is already fulfilled. If wealth is your goal, imagine yourself receiving a check, or handing someone a large sum, or celebrating a financial breakthrough. Let it be a moment that feels natural, believable, and powerful. Let it carry emotion. Let it stir you. That emotional charge is what impresses the image on the subconscious. And do not change the scene every day. Repetition is what gives it power. Repetition not through boredom, but through devotion. Each time you return to the scene, it becomes more alive. Each time you live it inwardly, it becomes more real. The subconscious begins to accept it as true, and then the outer world begins to conform. The world cannot help but respond, for it is only the mirror of your inner state. You do not need to wait for the perfect mood or the right moment. You create the right moment by going within. When you visualize, do it with simplicity and certainty. Let go of questions. Let go of doubts. Let go of how. Those belong to the outer world. Your concern is only with being. Being the person who already has, already lives in the fulfillment of the desire. When that state becomes familiar, the world must rearrange to match it. Does it mean? No. This is not imagination as fantasy. This is imagination as creation. You are not escaping reality, you are rewriting it. You are selecting from the infinite the reality you wish to express, and you do so with each image you impress, each feeling you sustain, each assumption you persist in. The process is not difficult, but it is sacred. Treat it as sacred. Give it your quiet attention each day, and trust that what you do in the silence is more powerful than all the noise of the world. If you were already the person you desire to be, how would you feel? How would you speak? How would you move through the day? Answer that question not with words, but with your visualization. Let your scene answer for you. Let it speak to your subconscious, and then do not contradict it with worry or fear. If the image is clear and the feeling is real, then nothing more is required but faithfulness. The image, once planted, grows in ways you cannot predict. It finds its own path. It works through people, circumstances, and timing beyond your control. So return to the same scene, feel it fully, and do so each day. Even 2 or 3 minutes of this inner work, practiced consistently, will shape the outer world. Because the one who sees and feels the end with belief will always be met with its reflection. The world is plastic to your imagination, and your subconscious holds the mold. Use it wisely, use it daily, and watch the seemingly impossible take shape. You are not hoping, you are not wishing, you are not even trying. You are selecting. This is the key to understanding the nature of reality. All that ever was, all that is, and all that will ever be already exists in the eternal now. Creation is finished. You do not create anything in the sense of bringing something from nothing. Rather, you select from the infinite states of being, and you move into the one that aligns with your desire. You do not build your reality brick by brick. You enter into it by assumption. The one who wishes remains apart from their desire. They speak of what they want as something separate, something distant, something yet to be earned, but the one who understands knows that every desired state is already a fact within consciousness. They do not wish, they claim, they do not beg, they embody. The process is not about deserving or effort, it is about identification. You must become the one who already has what you seek. That is the law. You are not summoning something from the outside, you are selecting something from within. This is why the outer world does not matter. The facts around you may speak of lack, of failure, of struggle, but these are not final unless you make them so. You are always free to select another state. The beggar may choose wealth, the sick may choose health, the lonely may choose love. It is not determined by background, by education, by chance. It is determined by choice. Conscious, imaginative, emotional choice. Selection is done through assumption. You assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled. You take on the mood, the tone, the inner speech, the energy of that state. You make it so real within that the world outside is compelled to echo it. But it begins in silence. It begins when you turn inward and deliberately withdraw attention from what is and place it fully upon what you choose. The moment you assume, the process begins. It may not be seen immediately, but the wheels are set in motion. There is no power greater than your ability to choose who you are. And this choice is not made by force. It is made by imagination. You see the version of yourself who already has what you long for, and you become him in thought, in feeling, in identity. You speak from that self. You walk as that self. And if you do not waver, the world will soon recognize you as that self too. Understand this clearly. The reality you live is the one you are most identified with. You may say you want wealth, but if you identify as someone lacking, the world has no choice but to mirror lack. You may say you want success, but if you feel like a failure, every opportunity will vanish. Selection is not verbal, it is emotional, it is vibrational. It is about what you dwell on when no one is watching. It is about what you feel yourself to be in the silence of your own mind. Every state exists. The version of you who is rich is not a fantasy. It is a living reality, waiting for your recognition. But to reach it, you must leave behind the identity of the one who is not. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot live in poverty and wealth at the same time. You must abandon one for the other. This abandonment is not external, it is internal. You die to oneself and are born to another. You die to oneself and are born to another. That death happens the moment you no longer accept your former limitations as truth. You are not waiting for life to choose you. Life is waiting for you to choose yourself. The world responds to your self-concept, not your words. It answers your assumptions, not your needs. You do not have to manipulate circumstances. You do not have to chase results. You simply enter the state that already contains what you desire, and you stay there in imagination until it becomes your natural dwelling place. And all things come to you, not as surprises, but as inevitabilities. Selection is a quiet act. It is done in the stillness of your own being. It requires nothing but inner attention and emotional alignment. You do not beg the universe to give you what you want. You assume it is already given. You do not knock on doors. You realize you are already inside the house. You do not climb ladders. You recognize the mountaintop already under your feet. This is not arrogance. This is truth. And it is a truth known to the one who has discovered the creative power within. Persist in the assumption until the world yields. This is the secret. It is not in trying once or twice, not in touching the state lightly and retreating in doubt, but in holding fast to the unseen reality with unwavering faith. When the outer world shows no evidence of change, that is not the time to give up. It is the time to deepen your conviction. The world yields not to effort, but to inner certainty. Whatever you persist in imagining, whatever you hold as true despite appearances, must eventually become your experience. This is the law of consciousness. Therefore, the word is a formula for consciousness expression. The great mistake many make is thinking that if nothing happens quickly, then the law does not work. But the law always works. It cannot fail. What often fails is man's willingness to persist. A seed planted today does not bloom tomorrow, yet the wise gardener waters it daily, knowing the harvest is guaranteed by the nature of the seed. Likewise, when you assume a new state of being, wealth, health, success, love, you must remain in that assumption until it becomes natural. You must walk, talk, feel, and think from that state, even if the outer world denies it. Persistence is the difference between wish and reality. It is not about effort in the outer sense. It is not struggle or strain. It is calm, inner fidelity to a chosen idea. You are not forcing the world to change. You are allowing it to conform. And it will if you do not move away from your assumption. The moment you assume the state of the wish fulfilled, a process is set into motion. Invisible currents begin to flow. The unseen connections are made, but if you interrupt the process with doubt, fear, or contradiction, the results are delayed or worse, canceled entirely. Your imagination is creative, but its power lies in sustained attention. You must hold the end scene, feel its reality, and return to it again and again, especially when the world tempts you to abandon it. There will be moments when nothing appears to change. Days may pass, perhaps weeks, where everything seems the same. But if you persist, if you do not waver, the assumption will harden into fact. It is not a question of if, it is a question of when. The world around you is not final. It is fluid, malleable, and ever-changing. It reflects not your desires, but your assumptions. To persist is to remain loyal to a vision. It is to remind yourself that the unseen is more real than what is seen. When your senses scream the opposite of your desire, you do not argue with them. You quietly return to your vision. You enter the scene in imagination, where all is already fulfilled, and you dwell there. That dwelling is your true home. The outer world is only a guest. It comes and goes according to the house you build within. Understand that persistence is not rigid. It is not about holding on with clenched fists. It is about living from the new identity again and again until it becomes effortless. It becomes your new natural. And when it does, the world must mirror it, for it has no choice. Consciousness is the only cause. The one who persists is the only cause. The animation is reality, and that the outer world is the shadow cast by the inner light. You may not know how the change will come. That is not your concern. The bridge of incidents, the events, people, and opportunities that lead you from your current state to your desired one will appear naturally. But they only arise after the assumption has been maintained. You do not command the bridge. You remain loyal to the end. That loyalty, that steady focus, is what draws the world to meet your vision. This is why inner conversations matter. They are the proof of what you truly believe. Do you argue with yourself in doubt? Do you speak as the one who lacks? Or do you affirm your new identity with calm assurance? Your inner speech must align with your assumption. Let your words and feelings support the new state. Let them build it moment by moment. If you persist in thinking, feeling, and speaking from the end, the outer must rearrange. Do not count the days. Do not watch the clock. Time is not your master. Consciousness is. The world bends to the one who knows what they are and will not be moved. This is not arrogance. This is truth. And it belongs to the one who dares to persist. Whether the world agrees or not, whether circumstances reflect your desire or seem to oppose it, you must stand unmoved, and in time the world will catch up. It will yield, because the inner cause has been faithfully sustained. So return to the assumption daily. Let it be your secret life. Let it fill your mind before sleep. Let it greet you upon waking. Feel it in your walk, your tone, your posture. Persist not in forcing the world to change, but in being the one who has already changed within. And the world, in obedience to law, will become the reflection of your inner persistence. All that you have heard is a call to remembrance, a reminder of who you truly are and the power that sleeps within you. You are not a victim of circumstance, nor a creature of chance. You are the operant power. You do not beg life to change, you command it by assuming the end and persisting in that assumption with unwavering faith. You are not here to wonder if it works. You are here to prove that it does. Imagination is your sacred tool. Feeling is the secret key. Assumption is the door. And persistence is the path through which all things unfold. You need not wait for permission or external confirmation. All realities already exist. You are not hoping, you are selecting. You are not seeking, you are becoming. The wealth you desire, the success you envision, the love you long for, these are not beyond your reach. They are within, waiting only for your acceptance. Hold fast to the unseen. Return again and again to the end you have chosen. Let your inner world be more real than anything the senses report. Live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and let that feeling shape your days, your thoughts, your words, your world. And when the evidence appears, and it will, you will not be surprised. You will simply smile, knowing it was done the moment you assumed it to be.